Well, I wish to welcome you again to another meditation talk, sitting on the meditation mat after meditating. You know, it's hard to believe that meditation, after so many years of trying, for years I thought that meditation was kind of a vacation in a sense, where I was trying to find a calmness in the midst of my miserable world, and kind of like a 20-minute vacation. And so I kind of was pushing things aside for a few minutes where I could rest. And you know, there's a benefit to that type of meditation. You know, it's the beginning of meditation in a sense that we begin to feel the benefit of calmness, of feeling peace, right? But you can only go so far doing that type of meditation. It's more like painting over a wall over and over again. That we are refreshing the surface, but in some ways we're not attending to the real problem. The real problem is that we don't feel peace during the day, and that we look forward to meditation because it is our one moment where we feel peacefulness. And yet when we look at the example of the Buddha, he was in a state of peace all the time. And for that reason, we look to his example in meditation to find out what did he do, or what did he see that allowed him to reach a state of mental peacefulness all the time while engaged in the real world. In many of my other conversations, I mentioned that the purpose of meditation is to listen to our neediness. That in silence, in a calm, quiet room, we sit, we need nothing. And yet part of us keeps bubbling up with requests, or there's anxiety there. And this is what I call our excessive neediness. And it drives us. It's our main motive for getting up in the morning. You know, this excessive neediness runs our day. So we are constantly moving from our one need to the next need, to the next need, to the next need. You know, being either partially satisfied if it was okay, or being frustrated if things didn't go your way. And in that sense, we get kind of exhausted from living a life of always running from one thing to the next. So in meditation, we can sit and listen to this neediness, and instead of ignoring it or pushing it to the side, begin to kind of deal with this neediness. I got a puppy dog running crazy around here. Can you want to say hello to everybody? You be a good girl. And it allows us to take a look at our neediness in a kind way. And really, these are unresolved parts of our personality. They're unresolved because if they were resolved, they would be silent. They would be at peace. They would be quiet. So because they're noisy, it means that these are the unresolved issues going on in our life. So through meditation, it can be a way of self-healing, of looking at this neediness in a way that we recognize that it's excessive, or it's there for a reason, but that it's not really our basic needs. And one by one, we can attend to these and kind of bring an end to this unresolved condition. Some of these conditions can be resolved through better education, by learning something new. But you find that many of them are addictive in a way, that even when we give new information to that situation, it still continues. So this is a type of neediness that's related to addiction, either physical or chemical. And that condition began with contact with something. And so we need to remove those things from our life if we want these parts of our neediness to dissipate or to leave. Such examples as caffeine or sugar, these are types of examples of things that you may want to look into. Each person is individual. You have to take a look at yourself, kind of back test it, make sure that it works for you. But in the end, with myself and my experience, I realized from eating once a day and from sleeping on the floor that my needs were simple. I simply needed food and a place to sleep. You know, and so after that, you know, once I've eaten my meal in the morning, my neediness is gone. It's basically done. So then I enter into a world without my neediness. My neediness is done. And this is where things really start to happen. Because my neediness is done, I approach the world in a different way. When I first started encountering this kind of feeling through meditation, I began to think, well, what do I do? I mean, my needs are done, so what else do I have to do? I just sit home and do nothing? But then I realized that, really, there are things to do. In our needy state, we accumulated all these things through ownership. We bought things, right? Bought a puppy dog, right? You know, we buy things. And we buy those things because we're needy. And when they satisfy our needs, we're happy with them. And when when we no longer need them, we just kind of toss them away like they're nothing. This is where garbage came from, right? It's no longer needed stuff. It has no place in the mind. The mind only wants to think about the things that it needs. So what happens is that this relationship is a domination relationship. It's domineering. And when we're needy, domination is one of the tools that we use to get the things that we want, right? That's why when we are constantly in a needy mood or a needy state, our personality is one where that can include lying, cheating, manipulation. All these things are fair game tools in a world where our needs come first, right? But when we're done with neediness, these qualities disappear because we don't need anything. And so now I have a bunch of things that I purchased that I don't need, right? Basically, you know. And you know, but our relationship changes because we're no longer in the domineering mind. No more bites. We begin to look at these things in a new way. First of all, we begin to look at our possessions in a new way. They're no longer possessions. We begin to realize that all things have their own journey, like their own life journey. This pillow has its own life journey. It began well before I met it, right? And it was a gift from a friend of mine, and it will probably exist long after I'm gone. So it has a life of its own. You know, and so in a way, instead of concentrating on the fact that I own this pillow in the dominating mind, I concentrate that I am in a symbiotic relationship with this pillow in the peaceful mind. So I care for this pillow. I take care of it. I love it. I treat it well. You know, I believe that all things are built from energy that's conscious, so that by loving this pillow in that way, that the universe responds to that, which is what's called karma. But irregardless, I show love to that item because it has its own journey. I show respect to its journey, equal respect. And I don't need to, it doesn't hurt me because I don't need anything, right? This is how I treat everything. I treat my bank account that way. You know, it has its own journey. It'll exist after I'm gone, right? And so I treat it with love. And because I treat it with love, it will be there for me when I need it. In a sense, it becomes a symbiotic relationship with all things, with my furniture, with my home, with those things. So once we begin to change our relationship from a dominating, I own this, it's for my needs, me, and when I don't need it, get rid of it, we now love things because they have their own journey. And because we love them, they are available to help us on our journey because we have a symbiotic relationship. We share this common life that we live. It's not about my life, and this is to help me in my life. It's about this life that we live, this life stream that we were born into, that all things have their own life path, and that we form symbiotic relationships with them. The only one that I didn't originally have that relationship with was with food, because in a way I felt, oh, I needed food, so I took from it. It was a dominating experience. And in a way, it does dominate the planet. You know, we're dominating meat or animals or plants in some way to get food. But then as this symbiotic relationship grows after our needs are fulfilled each morning, we begin to realize that even our relationship with food is symbiotic, right? That we take from the earth what we need in a loving, kind way because we're roommates in this life. We are symbiotic partners in this life. And because of that, we also give back to our food supply and to the planet in such a way that it will always be there for us when we need it. So this is a much healthier kind of mind frame than the dominating mind that we find from being in a state of neediness all the time. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that for a few minutes. I'm not sure why, but I just wanted to really say that because this is a whole different way of looking at the world. And it's one that we cannot do until we end neediness. And neediness is ended by sitting on a mat in a quiet room with a full belly, realizing that our needs are fulfilled, and then asking ourselves a question, then what is all this other neediness for? And what is all this neediness from? I mean, it's there for a reason. It's not there to harm us. It's there because we put it there. And it's time to go back and resolve these issues to form states of peacefulness that will allow us to form states of symbiotic or relationships with all things that are loving, that are fair, and that will bring peace to the planet. Anyways, that's what I had to say today. My puppy is full of energy and he wants to bite. But anyways, thanks again. If you've enjoyed, please subscribe, and we love you all. Any questions, please send them and I'll do my best. Thanks again and love you all. Peace.